Good morning. How are you? Welcome to the Heidi Harris Show. We got kind of an important topic today. Really important. Do you ever wonder what's going on with the EMF? That's the electromagnetic field that's around us constantly, whether it's Wi-Fi in your home, whether it's Wi-Fi in every store you go to. What about these cell towers? What about things like, cordless phones and, parents, listen up, baby monitors that people put right next to their children's head? Do you ever wonder how dangerous those things are? What about the people you hear about who are walking around with their cell phones on their hips all day long? I know a lot of men who do that. I get on my husband about that. Honey, when you go to work, put it on the desk, please. And he promises he does that. It's pretty scary. We really don't know whether cell phones cause brain tumors or things like that, but we do know there's a lot of danger in the so-called electromagnetic field that's around everywhere. I've got an expert here with me today. Bill Cadwallader is his name. I've known him for how many years, Bill? 30? So many years I have to pay you off.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Something long before I was in talk radio. I've known Bill and his wife all these years. He's a certified electromagnetic radiation specialist. And what we're going to talk about today, he's got a brand new book out called Exposed. You can check it out on my Heidi Harris Show Facebook page. I tweeted it and I also put it on the page. And if you subscribe to my Heidi Harris Show newsletter, you probably got a copy. You saw the picture of the book this morning when I sent this out. I think it's really important that people know about this because Bill is the kind of guy who goes out to your house and he can check with meters and talk about all the electricity that's in your home and how dangerous it is. And you came out a couple of years ago to a place we were living at the time, Bill,
right,
and you showed us where things were bad, and it was crazy because the worst wall in our house was where we always sat on the couch.
I remember that.
Yes, and then of course you told us about the wall behind the bed where our heads were and how bad it was back there. So that's something you can do. We'll get to that coming up in a little bit. But thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I've been working on this book for a long time. The book is called Exposed, The Electronic Sickening of America and How to Protect Yourself. I also want to mention, Bill, that since you and I talked a couple of years ago about this and you came out to my house and gave me an evaluation, my husband and me, I remember there was a house that we looked at in a specific neighborhood that we liked. No, I lied. We didn't look at it. We looked at it online. And it was in a specific neighborhood we were trying to get a house in. And, you know, it's tough nowadays to get a house in the neighborhood you want, right? The zip code, the street. But guess what? It was right behind a bunch of power lines off Charleston. We're like, I don't think so. And we didn't even look at it. I said to Brian, Brian goes, look at the lot size. I go, look at the power lines. But look at the lot size. Look at the power lines. I said, Bill Cadwallader says you can't live there. So we didn't do it. We made that decision just because of your influence.
Wonderful.
So talk a little bit about your background and how you got so interested in this and how you became an expert in this field.
Thank you, Heidi, and again, thanks for having me here this morning. I'm a certified electromagnetic radiation specialist. There's only about 30 of us who are certified and practicing in the U.S. We go under we get certified through a 2-year program. And in that 2-year program, we take actually 14 courses.
Wow.
When we come out. I'm actually part of the faculty that goes back every year that teaches a beginning course as well on EMF as part of the 14 courses. But what really got me interested was I worked in IT all my life. And so I had a coworker who was working there with me. And every time I saw him, he had the cell phone up to his ear. Before meetings, after meetings, walking out to his vehicle in the parking lot. And he developed a tumor right where he held the cell phone, right next to his ear. Not on the back, not on the other side, not on the top of his head, but right there. He had surgery, massive chemo. We thought, okay, now we know. It grew back. Surgery again, massive chemo, then he died. He left a wife who was now a widow, and he left 7 children who are now fatherless. And at that moment in time, I knew industry was never going to tell us how to use these electronic devices in the most safe mode. Yeah. And that's at that point, that's when I turned and I started investigating, and that's when I eventually became certified as an electromagnetic radiation specialist. And that's what we do. We show people what the issue is, but even more importantly, we have solutions. So, and that's the most important thing I want to say today, that we have solutions for almost any problem that's out there.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, because I don't want, you're not here to scare people, because
Right.
you're not going to push back City Hall. You're not going to eliminate these cell towers. You're not advocating that we do that. You're saying here are ways to be safe and what goes on. I actually saw a daycare center, I think it's off of Warm Springs, after you and I had talked about this a couple years ago. There's a daycare center right off Warm Springs that has a cell tower right above it. I mean, right above it. And it's kind of scary. So let's start with the cell towers. Let's talk about the danger involved in them and what happens, whether it's off the charts or what goes on with cell towers.
Well, cell towers, in 1996, they passed the current telecommunications law. And in that telecommunications law that they passed, and it was done by the electrical utilities, the Wi-Fi providers, and cell phone providers, in that there's a small clause that says you can never deny a cell tower's placement anywhere in the U.S. based on environmental or based on any health conditions.
Wow, how scary is that? So if you live in a neighborhood and it shows up, you can't say one thing about it if you're already there.
That's it. And now, currently, we have about 150,000 cell towers in the U.S., but they're bringing in a new mobile network. It's called 5G. We're currently on 4G. Just stands for generation. And in there, they're going to go up to 800,000 is one estimate. Another estimate is 2 million.
2 million cell towers potentially.
And they're going to make them so small, they're the size of a large pizza box, and they'll actually start putting them on lampposts in your street.
Wow, that's amazing. So talk to me about the danger posed by these cell towers. What do they, I mean, I'm asking this like I'm 4 years old, okay? So those of you who are experts, and by the way, we'll take your calls at 702-866-6700. Those of you who know much more than I do about science are going to laugh at me, but I'm asking like I'm 4 years old, because there are people who don't understand it that well, and so they need to understand, if you know, at the basic level. So what does the cell tower put out of it? And I know most of them are above ground, so they're above houses theoretically, right? What happens at a cell tower? What's dangerous about it?
So what happens is it puts out electromagnetic radiation, and it's a lot more powerful than your phone itself. And in 2012, the Bioinitiative report came out, and in there they had over 3,800 studies by scientists and PhDs, 29 of them throughout the world, that talked about the health risks that are out there. And they showed there's just so many cancers and so many other things. And what we always, and the three major things it does is it damages the DNA, the blood-brain barrier is compromised, and it weakens the immune system. Those are the three major things that radiation does, actually affects us. And again, with that 3,800 studies, it just talks about all the different types of radiation and what type of health effects. Now, we're not saying radiation causes every single disease in the world. Obviously, there was diseases before we had cell towers and cell phones. But what we like to say, could it be the straw that broke the camel's back? Is it a contributory cause significant enough to actually push you far enough to get a disease that you might never have gotten, and now that your immune system is weakened, then it's a lot harder to get rid of?
Absolutely. We're speaking with Bill Cadwallader. His brand new book's called Exposed: The Electronic Sickening of America and How to Protect Yourself. And we're obviously going to put some solutions out before the end of the show. So it's not about gloom and doom. It's about, solutions and giving people the ideas that they need. So let's talk a little bit about some things around your house that people may not think of that are dangerous. I know that you're very much against cordless phones. I don't know how many people have them. My mother still does, and I'm on her every day. I know. You're both shaking your head, you and your wife. I know. But my mom, I'm trying to get her to get rid of these cordless phones and get them out of her house. And talk about why cordless phones are so terrible to have in your home.
So cordless phones, when you pick up the handset, it's just like a cell phone. So it's broadcasting radiation, and it's over 120 times the safe level. And again, if someone wants to use a cordless phone, when we go out to a house, we always have good, better, and best solutions. So some people will say, I don't want my cordless phone anymore. That's the best solutions. But if they have one, what we say is you have to move the base away from where you sit, sleep, or stand. Because even though you've hung up the phone on a modern cordless phone, the base is like a mini cell tower. It continues to broadcast, and it's over 120 times the safe level. So we were in a house recently. The gentleman had huge issues with heart issues as well as eye issues, and I look at the nightstand. Right next to his nightstand was a cordless phone base. And if he just moved that out to another area, he would not have been getting the levels of radiation. And we measure four types of radiation. Cordless phones does anything through the air, Wi-Fi, wireless, and Bluetooth. And then we measure 3 types of radiation on the wires, because our wires have no protection at all. It's just plastic wires behind a wall, and the radiation can come 6 to 8 feet out.
And that's what's interesting, because when you came out to my house, and the house we lived in before, the one we're living in now, and you came out and you said that it was off the charts behind the bed, which I guess is probably pretty common, right? Because most beds have outlets on both sides, right? Ideally for lamps and nightstands and things like that, right? So is that a pretty common thing behind where you're sleeping every night, to have all that radiation?
Always. I find that always, because the 2 outlets that are behind the bed on the left and right, they're connected by a wire that runs right behind your head. And there's no protection. And what we do is we have actually a piece of RF shielding. It looks like a real thick aluminum foil. Of course, it's made in Switzerland. It's a lot more, has a lot more layers. And what we do is we stick that behind the bed, and what it does, it reduces the radiation up to 90%.
Wow.
And it's a simple little thing. Don't have to tack it to your wall.
Wow, that's amazing. All right, we're going to get to your calls after we take a break here. Bill Cadwallader is here. He's got a brand new book out. It's called Exposed, The Electronic Sickening of America and How to Protect Yourself. Tell everybody to tune into this, because all of these things are in all of our homes. We're going to talk about the dangers of baby monitors. I don't think a lot of parents think about baby monitors and things that are in your home. Microwave ovens, things I never thought about till Bill came out to my house with his meter, and I went, what? Should you stand in front of a microwave oven and count to 10? I will talk about that coming up, and we'll get to your calls. 702-866-6700. I'm Heidi Harris. The electromagnetic stuff floating around in the air, whether it's Wi-Fi, whether it's cell towers, things in your home that are dangerous. You ever ask yourself why would people get things like kidney cancer when they're carrying their cell phones around in their waistband? We're not saying everybody's going to get it. Bill Cadwallader is here. He's an expert in this field. He's got a new book out called Exposed, The Electronic Sickening of America and How to Protect Yourself. So we're not here to give you gloom and doom, oh my gosh, they shouldn't put cell towers up. We're going to give you some solutions that will help you. Because I know Bill did that with us. He came out to our home, he checked the entire place, and let us know that things like, the headboard where we were sleeping every night was one of the worst places in the house. So these are things you need to know. If you put a baby monitor by your child's head, you definitely need to know about that. We'll talk about that coming up in a moment. And we'll get to your call, 702-866-6700. We'll kick it off with Eric. Eric, welcome to the Heidi Harris Show. You're here with Bill Cadwallader.
That's a great question, Eric. What happens is it's in the hundreds of times higher than what we call the no concern. We have no concern, slight concern, severe concern, and extreme concern. And at that point, unfortunately, with the cell tower, what I would do is I would have a certified electromagnetic radiation specialist come out and actually measure it to see what you have. And in that point, again, you can't fight City Hall. So we would do a shielding solution. So there is paint, there's other ways of shielding where you actually paint the outside of the house, just that one wall facing that cell tower, and a lot of times that really reduces it. And also on the windows, you always have to think about the windows. Radiation comes right through the windows, so you would use some clear window film that we sell, that's sold for this. And then a lot of times it can actually come through the roof, depends upon that. So you would either put some, it's like a foil type protection in the attic, or you would actually paint the ceilings. But let me just caution people, you only want to do this under the expertise of a certified electromagnetic radiation specialist, because these are all reflective technologies, and if you're reflecting it in the wrong way, then you don't want to do that, and you only want to do as much as you need to.
Interesting. Now, Eric, I encourage you, check out his website. Bill's website's called StopDirtyElectricity.com. StopDirtyElectricity.com. Thank you for the call. I appreciate that. He's got a lot of tips on there. Me, if they were putting up a cell tower, I'd sell my house. I'm telling you right now. I'd sell it real fast before the tower went up. Before the last palm tree frond went on there, I would get rid of it because of what you've told me. I know people who live near these things, and I'm just telling you. And I'm not the paranoid type, and I'm a Christian. I know where I'm going. I don't care how long I live. I've done a lot already. I'm tired. I don't care how long I live, but I want to feel good while I'm here. That's my whole thing, right? I just don't want to have to deal with this. 702-866-6700, 702-866-6700. Let's talk about baby monitors for a second. Now, those you say are very dangerous.
Yeah, actually, on our website, Stop Dirty Electricity, we put up some 1-minute videos. So, like cancer on your nightstand, what happens if you
Cancer on your nightstand.
Yeah,
well, there's a nice little nighttime viewing for you.
And again, we're all about solutions. So we show what happens if you charge your cell phone on your nightstand, microwave oven, how far you have to actually get away from the
like
microwave.
out of the kitchen, you told me.
Yeah, even farther. And then we have a baby monitor there. And so we measure a baby monitor. And I was on a condo on the strip of the 21st floor of the Mandarin Oriental. And again, he had a baby monitor and didn't want to get rid of it. So we kept moving it and moving it. And with meters, we can tell when it's less of a risk. So that's the most important thing. We recommend people don't use them, but again, we have good, better, and best solutions. If they have to use them, then we would position those far enough away so it would have less radiation.
Interesting. So baby monitors not good. The website's called StopDirtyElectricity.com. StopDirtyElectricity.com. Jim, who's on? What's our next call?
Thomas.
Thomas, welcome to the Heidi Harris Show. You're on with Bill Cadwallader. Thank you. They can't get rid of me, Thomas. They keep trying to bury me, and, I keep coming back. That's a very good question. Thank you, Thomas. Let's talk about those, and thank you for the nice words. Let's talk about smart meters, because that was something I was very much against. And they've caused a lot of problems in California. A lot of people are concerned about them here. I put aluminum foil around our smart meter at the last place we lived. Talk a little bit about those, Bill.
Smart meters create two types of radiation. They create wireless Wi-Fi type of radiation through the air, but it also creates a second type of radiation called dirty electricity on every single wire of your house.
Oh,
and
wow.
again, that comes out 6 to 8 feet. So in Southern Nevada, the first 1,200 people can get their smart meters removed. So if someone lives in Southern Nevada or Northern Nevada or other places, I would use the opt-out program and just get it off and put the old one back on. So that's, if you don't have an opt-out program, then what I would do is they have something called Smart Meter Guard that you can put on, that it lets enough of the signal get to the utility company, but it does protect you inside, but then you still have the dirty electricity.
You still have to go through your wires,
You're
regardless, right?
And so what you would need to do is buy Stop Dirty Electricity filters, and you'd want to plug those in. And whenever you plug those in, I would recommend that you just buy a meter. They're like $99, just to make sure you're getting the result that you wanted.
Okay, now those are some of them. You've given me some of those meters in the past when you came to my house that I would just plug in. They were little white things. Is that what those things do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, little filters. There's a meter to measure what the level is, and then the filter actually knocks it down.
Okay.
Out of the 4 types of radiation, that's the only type of radiation that we actually make a plug-in solution that's made for it.
Well,
It's
that
called
helps.
Stop Dirty Electricity. And again, it's dirty electricity meter filters.
And the website is called StopDirtyElectricity.com. By the way, we're speaking with Bill Cadwallader. If you're just joining us, his brand new book's called Exposed, The Electronic Sickening of America and How to Protect Yourself. Now, Bill's not a doctor. He's not making any kind of claims that anything causes, there's a direct causation between, carrying your phone on your belt or kidney cancer or, impotence or, what are some of the other things that people are having trouble having children because he's not making those claims. But he's just saying that this is not helpful for you. Jimbo, who's next up online?
Angel.
Angel, welcome to the Heidi Harris Show. You're on with Bill Cadwallader. Oh, that's great, Angel. Okay. Okay, thank you for that, Angel. I appreciate it, and I know who she is, and she's been very, very supportive of getting rid of the smart meters. She was one of the people who was trying to get rid of them. It's just a really bad idea, I think. A terrible idea. So once again, 120,000, which is great. People can opt out of this. And I know that, the other thing about the smart meters was a lot of the people who were meter readers were put out of business by the smart meters. That was a whole issue. All right, Bill Cadwallader is here. His brand new book is called Exposed, The Electronic Sickening of America and How to Protect Yourself. And coming up, we're going to talk about a couple of the things you need to be concerned about if you're a homeowner. And we're going to talk about some solutions. Real quickly, before we take a break, microwave ovens?
If you still want to use them.
What do you mean if you still want to use them? Who doesn't have a microwave, Bill? Do you have a microwave in your house?
Yes,
Okay.
and we use them. So I do have a 1-minute video. Take a look at that. And when you turn it on, get as far away as you can get.
Really?
Yeah, I was speaking in Anthem, and a lady came up to me. She was a former nurse, and I talked about microwave ovens, and she says, "Oh, I've got to tell my husband." I said, "Good, you can tell him now." She said, "Too late." I said, "Too late? Why is it too late?" "He already has an abdominal tumor." I said, "Yeah."
So what did she think caused it? I know you're not making any.
He stood. Yeah, I'm not making any claims at all.
No, you're not. But what did she think caused it? That he stood by the microwave?
She thought he would stand right in front of the microwave and watch everything cook.
Like for the entire time it was cooking?
For the entire time.
Wow.
And again, as Heidi said, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not making any claims. I'm just saying here's some smart things you can do that are precautionary.
Wow. And we'll talk more about that coming up. Bill Cadwallader is here as an expert on electromagnetic radiation. The book, it's brand new, just came out. It's called Exposed, The Electronic Sickening of America and How to Protect Yourself. I've got the book title up there on the Heidi Harris Show Facebook page, so check it out. And it's available at Amazon, correct?
Yes.
And the website is StopDirtyElectricity.com.
Yes, and when it came out, when it first hit Amazon, it was #1 in new releases in all of Amazon for health, fitness, and safety.
That is fantastic, because it's really important because all of us have all of these things in our homes, in our cars. We'll also talk about exposure in your car. We'll talk about the things I love to wear, those little headphones when I'm driving and talking on the phone. Those are bad. You're just Mr. Bad News too. And we're also, the main thing we're going to talk about is how you can protect yourself from all these very normal things in your life. And we'll take your calls. 702-866-6700. 702-866-6700. I'm Heidi Harris. 866-6700. The number is 702-866-6700. We are having a really important conversation today. There's a brand new book out that's called Exposed, The Electronic Sickening of America and How to Protect Yourself. You hear stories about people getting brain tumors from cell phones, kidney cancer from carrying them on their waist. Now, Bill Cadwallader is here. He's an expert in electromagnetic radiation. Now, he's not making any medical claims. That's not what we're here to do. We're not here to scare you. We're not here to give you doom and gloom. We just know the stuff's out there. And he's got some great ideas for how to protect yourself. And his website is StopDirtyElectricity.com. And just so you know, if you're new to the Heidi Harris Show, I don't put people on this show for money. I've never done it, okay? Bill's not here because he paid me to be on. I'm not doing an infomercial. I'm talking to Bill because this is so important, and because I've known him for 30 years, like I said, long enough to have to pay you off. And he came out to my house where my husband and I were living a couple years ago, and things were off the charts that we didn't realize. And it was really important that that Bill checked this kind of thing out. So the book, once again, is called Exposed, The Electronic Sickening of America and How to Protect Yourself. It's up at my Heidi Harris Show website. Also, his website is StopDirtyElectricity.com. Bill, let's talk about routers in the house, those wireless routers that most people have. How dangerous are those?
Very dangerous. And when we go out to someone's house, we always have good, better, and best solutions. So the best solution is don't have a wireless router, but no one really can do that in modern times.
It's hard, yeah.
Yeah, and so another solution is you only turn it on, the wireless part, when you need it, and most people can't do that either. So what we recommend is at night that you actually turn it off when you go to bed, and you move it as far away from your sleeping, standing, or sitting areas. Actually, I have people in Las Vegas that actually move it to their garage. But again,
interesting. You could move the router to the garage. My husband has it in his office. That's interesting. I didn't know you could do that.
I would move it a lot farther away.
Okay.
And then what we say is, I had a client in San Diego and said, I can't remember to turn it off. 2 ways to do that. There's a simple little timer, like on Christmas tree lights.
Oh, yeah, you buy little
just
timers.
go off at 11, come on at 6 o'clock when you wake up, or whatever.
I like that. That's a good idea.
And then the other option is at at one of the big box hardware stores, they sell remote control turn-offs. So you just plug the router into that plugs it into the wall. You have a little remote. Hey, we're going to sleep. Turn the router off.
That's a good idea.
And then whenever you need it, turn it on.
Okay, so the router should be off when you're sleeping at night. Another thing a lot of people are guilty of, including our beloved Jim Dallas running the board here, charging your cell phone on your nightstand. Big no-no. Big no-no.
Huge. 19 out of 20 people I talk with charge it on the nightstand.
Yeah.
On our website and on YouTube, we have a video called, it's called Cancer on Your Nightstand. It's only 1 minute long. I would really have people look at that. And so what we say is just move it as far away as you can in the room. Now, and that's what you do. When the alarm clock goes off in the morning, then you can hear it.
How about buying a little cheap battery-operated alarm clock like we used to do,
Yeah.
and putting the cell phone in another room? And by the way, I moved my cell phone into the other room at night only because of what you had to say. That was really important because of what you told me, Bill, years ago. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. What were you going to say, Jim?
Well, we had a question about smartwatches.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad you brought that
people
up.
wear those, yeah.
He mentions those in this book, Exposed. Bill, talk about the smartwatches.
Yeah, I was at downtown Summerlin just about a month ago at a yoga conference at the OM Festival.
A yoga conference?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yoga
really,
festival.
Bill? Really?
Yeah.
Yoga conference.
I had a booth there.
Okay.
And so what happened was a guy came up. He was very proud. He had a smartwatch. It was an Apple smartwatch. And he carried his phone in his breast pocket right there.
All right.
And it was tracking all his medical heart continually. So normally when I check a phone or a watch, if you're not actively using it, it goes off every 6 to 30 seconds. It sends out a signal trying to find the nearest cell phone, Wi-Fi, or Bluetooth. And it sends, but it's over 125 times the safe level. His, because it was connected to his phone, stayed at that level the entire time. It never went down.
Wow. So having the watch and the smartphone combination was far worse than just having one or the other.
Yes. It was continually in contact,
That's incredible.
monitoring his heart.
That's terrible. Now, you were telling me that there was a woman who came up to you at an event about her husband apparently he used to carry a cell phone on his belt.
I was a featured speaker at the 45th Annual Cancer Convention in Los Angeles last year. So at lunchtime, a lady came up and asked me and said, my husband has kidney cancer. And I said, kidney cancer? Where does he carry his cell phone? Right on his belt. I said, well, was it his left kidney? She said, no, it was the right kidney right underneath. And most people don't know, every 6 to 30 seconds, on the average, a cell phone sends out a signal trying to connect to the nearest cell phone, tower, Wi-Fi, or Bluetooth device.
Wow, that's
And then
crazy.
she said, he doesn't carry it that anymore. I said, that's wonderful. She said, he's having another problem. I said, what's that? He's starting to get dementia. I said, dementia? Where does he charge his cell phone? He charges it on his nightstand,
Oh my gosh.
inches from his head. So all the way through night, at the nighttime, every 6 to 30 seconds on the average, he's getting a pulse of radiation 120 times or more the safe level.
This is unbelievable. And something else about men carrying cell phones on their belts or in their pockets. There's been talk, once again, Bill Cadwallader's here. He's an expert on this. He is not making medical claims, okay? We're just talking here. But there's been talk that fertility can be affected by this, which would make sense to me. I mean, you're carrying it right by the stuff, right?
Yeah, there was a study recently done in India where fertility has dropped over 49% recently in one area. And then also, besides on the belt or in the pocket, there's another issue is we were doing work in California at a firefighter's house, brought out his 19-year-old son. He said, here he is, and we're wondering what's this about. It was a workshop, and he said he has a hip replacement. How can a 19-year-old have a hip replacement?
Wow.
So then he detailed that as a freshman in high school, he took his phone and he put it in his front pocket, carried that for 4 years in his front pocket. He graduated, he was 19 years old, he was behind his house, Trabuco Canyon, he was jumping off a little rock, broke his hip. They rushed him to emergency, put him on the operating table. The surgeon, she opened him up. The first thing she found was a huge tumor right where he carried the cell phone.
Wow.
She went through the tumor. She could not believe her eyes. She could stick her finger right through the bone.
That's unbelievable.
His bone was completely dissolved. I'm not saying, I'm not making any medical claims that that's what caused it, but again, we always take the precautionary rule. So whenever you're carrying your cell phone in your pocket, airplane mode on, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi off, the radiation's completely cut off.
Scary. 702-866-6700, 702-866-6700. Bill Cadwallader's here. He's got a brand new book. It's called Exposed to the Electronic Sickening of America and How to Protect Yourself. Now, some of these things I had heard about only because I've known you for so long and you've told me about them in the past. You came out to my house. You did an evaluation. It was scary. The worst place in the house, the absolute worst place, because outside at the time was a big power box or something. And right inside the house was where we had the couch. And that was the worst place in the entire house for the electromagnetic. So we moved everything after you said so. But something I'm still bad about, I'm not going to lie to you, Bill. I'm bad about, I'll get up in the middle of the night sometimes, and I can't really sleep. And I like to sleep with the television set on. I like to sleep with noise. I just do. And not just a fan, just something. And I'm going to just be honest here, okay? I'll put on Columbo. I do. I like it because I do. And I'll go right back to sleep. But I will fall asleep on the couch sometimes with my laptop right by my head. Bad, right? Spank my hand, Bill. Go ahead. All right, bad. Right?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Tell me why it's bad.
So what happens is with your laptop, you're streaming it. So again, it's constant, it's wireless, so it's sending out radiation hundreds of times the safe level.
Okay, let me back up. So if I were to watch it, the DVD, it's not as bad, but you still have the blue light thing, right?
Right, you have the blue light, but whenever you do play a DVD, make sure airplane mode's on and Bluetooth and Wi-Fi off.
Okay,
you got to
right.
turn the radiation off.
Or you don't get the advantage. Okay, so
Right.
when you're streaming anything, you are getting that radiation from the Wi-Fi.
Continually. From
Wow.
Wi-Fi, wireless, and Bluetooth.
Okay, so bad girl. Okay.
But we do have solutions.
Okay. And by the way, StopDirtyElectricity.com is the website. StopDirtyElectricity.com is the website. And there are things, even pets are affected by the electromagnetic field. I was surprised that you and I hadn't discussed that before. In your book, Exposed, which, by the way, just came out, folks, the information, you can get the book at StopDirtyElectricity.com, or it's on my Heidi Hair Show page. And I did not realize that pets, and this makes sense, are at risk when you have this kind of stuff floating around your house.
They're just like humans, and we have the wires in the wall, and we have 3 types of radiation coming off the wires, and it comes as far as 6 to 8 feet out. So what we recommend is that if you have a bed for a pet, don't put it right next to the wall, bring it more toward the center of the room, because it's any inches, feet that you're farther away from the walls, that's the best way to do it.
Interesting. Although animals will decide where they want to sleep on their own usually.
Yeah,
like my dachshund likes to sleep under the bed because he's a dachshund. They like to be under things, in tunnels and things like that. He likes that, especially in the summer where it's cooler under the bed. But we've got to have you come out to the new house and check, the stuff, because I don't know how bad it is where he's sleeping. I mean, that's something to be scared of, because I've lost a couple of dogs to cancer in the last 4 years. I've lost, one was 16, she was just old, and I lost 2 to cancer. It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was doing a phone consulting with a lady up in Washington. She had her son in a room, and there are several walls she could put that bed on. One wall where he was, it was 30 times the safe level. So she had a meter, she moved it to another wall, and it had dropped by over 90% by just putting the sun on another wall.
That's unbelievable. Okay, we're speaking with Bill Cadwallader. He's an expert on electromagnetic radiation, and he's the kind of guy who could come out to your house and give you an evaluation, which is what he's done for us. StopDirtyElectricity.com is the website. StopDirtyElectricity.com. When we come back, Bill, we're going to talk about solutions. I think we scared everyone half to death. Now we're going to talk about simple things you can do, because you can't get away from this. You can't fight City Hall. You're not going to stop this. But what can you do to protect yourself? That's coming up on the Heidi Harris Show. In studio with me, Bill Cadwallader. He's a certified electromagnetic radiation specialist. I've known Bill, full disclosure, and his wife for so many years. Like I said, I have to pay him off over 30 years. And he's an expert in this area, and he's come out to my house and done an evaluation on this. And I just wanted to talk about this today because these things are in every one of our homes. In the home, in the hotel room, whatever it might be, you're being exposed to this, whether it's cell towers, cordless phones. You got on me about when I drive around, I have the headphone that goes around my neck, Bill. I shouldn't have that.
No.
Got to have the cord.
Yes.
Ugh.
Everything wired.
Just a killjoy, aren't you? By the way, the website's StopDirtyElectricity.com, Stop Dirty Electricity. You've got 10 things that people can do right now to limit their exposure. Talk a little bit about some of those quick things that people can do.
Well, the very first thing has to do with a nightstand. So again, you don't want to charge your cell phone on your nightstand. Okay. You want to move that as far away as possible because it creates 4 types of radiation, all 4 types of radiation that we have.
So no nightstand stuff. What about the things like we have Apple TV. What about the Apple TV thing in your bedroom? Is that bad, even having your room at all?
Again, good, better, and best solutions.
Mm-hmm.
If you need it and you have to use it, so
nobody needs it. No one has to use it.
But whenever you don't use it, make sure it's unplugged, because even though some things like Apple TV, Roku, it just depends upon the version.
Okay.
They constantly send out Wi-Fi and wireless signals.
Even if they're off. Okay.
So again, our solutions is whenever you don't have anything, you always turn it off.
Okay, turn it off. So either you pull it out or you have it on a power strip that you can turn the entire power strip off. You want to turn people to turn the routers off when they're not using them, certainly at night.
Yeah, and they can use a timer or remote control cutoff.
Okay, that makes a difference. Obviously, probably not a good idea to be reading your laptop or your iPad in bed, right? Because right before you go to sleep, because then that interferes with your sleep, the blue light and whatnot.
Yeah, the blue light. A lot of newer laptops have a blue light filter, and so that can take out. The other thing has to do with fitness, like certain things you wear around your wrist.
Oh, the
for
Fitbit
fitness.
and all those things?
Yeah, so we recommend you don't use it, but if someone says, I've got to have it, then only use it when you work out for an hour. Then the other 23 hours, don't keep it on.
Oh, okay.
Because it's constantly sending out radiation every 6 to 30 seconds.
Okay, so a Fitbit and a Smartwatch, both of those are pretty bad for the same reasons then.
Yeah, now a smartwatch, you can actually turn it airplane mode on, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi off.
Yeah,
so you
but
can
nobody does that unless they're on a plane, right? People keep them on because they want to get that email. God forbid they miss that news flash or whatever, right?
Yeah, we recommend that you do that, and then every 20 minutes just turn it on and check it.
Yeah, okay. So, but in general, if you're not staring at your phone to look at news and whatnot, keep it on airplane mode.
Airplane mode on and Bluetooth and Wi-Fi off. And if it's far enough away, you can do that. So we recommend if you go to the office, take it out of your pocket, pull it as far away as you can, because you have important calls. We don't want you to miss those calls. And if you have airplane mode on, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi off, you won't get any text messages, any emails, or any phone calls.
Wouldn't that be great just for one day? Just for one day. I'll have to look at your phone. Baby monitors, bad.
Yeah, again, if you do have we recommend you don't use them. If you do have them, we recommend that someone measures them to make sure they get it as far away as possible because of the radiation. There's a lot of radiation. I go to the CES every year, the Consumer Electronics Show, and in the back of the book, we have about 30 pages by room what to look at.
Okay.
And so we have a nursery. So if someone's a new mom or expecting mom, we list a lot of things in there that you could say, wow, I never knew that has a wireless signal. They have baby monitors that are diapers that are smart now. And it's right next to the child, constantly sending out radiation.
Oh my gosh.
And it tells when they're wet.
Yeah.
And they also have a Wi-Fi pacifier. So they stick it in the baby's mouth, and the mother or a parent knows exactly what the temperature is, but they're sucking on like a mini cell tower.
They have Wi-Fi pacifiers?
And it's in the back of the book, and we go room by room. again, just pick a room like an office, like a nursery, a bedroom, and those are things you can look at.
And if you sit in your office and you think about all the things that are in your office that are flying around between the router and the cell phone and the computers and all, and the printer, the wireless printer, all these things that are flying around on a daily basis, I mean, it's pretty scary. So the book is called Exposed, The Electronic Sickening of America and How to Protect Yourself. Bill Cadwallader wrote it. It's a great book. He's a certified electromagnetic radiation specialist. By the way, I want you to know a couple of things. First of all, I want to reiterate, nobody pays to be on my show. I didn't put Bill on because he paid me to be here. I don't do infomercials. I'm thrilled to have you, Bill. I wanted this information out there. Bill is pleased, by the way, to come speak to your organization if you'd like him to do that. All the information about Bill, how to reach him, stopdirtyelectricity.com, stopdirtyelectricity.com. And he's got some videos about these various things and steps you can take right away. But I recommend you get this book because all of us are exposed to all of these things every single day, whether or not we even have a smartphone. Bill Cadwallader, thank you for being here, my friend.
Thank you.
Great to see you and your beautiful wife, who I've known for, once again, also forever and ever and ever. StopDirtyElectricity.com. Check it out. Check out my website, HeidiHarris.com. Stay tuned for Dennis Prager.